and we're off on the coffee run again. So just been to go get Nikki a cup of coffee for Nikki being my other half, for her day at work. She needs a nice hot cup of coffee actually today because there's no heating at work and it's 1 degree outside, and as you can probably see there's a little bit of snow knocking about as well, which actually at a workplace is a little bit more prevalent than what it is here apparently. We'll see when we get there, no doubt. So yeah, just been to Starbucks, got myself a nice coffee, got Nikki an extra hot, and whilst I've been here, next door is a shopping centre called Junction 32. It's just off the M62, and there's a nice 7 kilowatt post there, just like there's a nice couple of up to 96% on its battery, and I got 116 miles on the GOM. We've reset the miles per kilowatt hour, and gonna have a nice run through to Selby from Castleford and try and get the coffee there with a decent bit of heat left in it, hopefully. Temperature outside 2 degrees, temperature inside 21. Got the heat set. Obviously, not much point in running in this temperature, as said in previous videos, without the heat. Do have the automatic demist off. So interesting, last night I ran back home from Coventry and basically had the automatic demist setting on, and my consumption actually went down from 4.7 miles per kilowatt to 4.2 fairly rapidly, because you're just trying to constantly heat up the cold surface of the windscreen. I can do without that, I don't need that. Just keeping the cabin temperature even keeps the windscreen nice and clear. So it's pretty pointless having that constant windscreen heat. There's a button there if you need it. I appreciate that Hyundai have gone to the trouble to actually put a sensor on there, but don't need it. Not at all. So woke up this morning to a nice bit of snow, but the sun's coming out now and it is clearing, but then you get some very isolated snow showers that are quite heavy as well. Again, as ever with these videos, as people are joining, feel free to ask any questions. Electric cars, I know, are somewhat of a new thing to the majority of us, and so I'm quite happy to put myself out here and answer any questions I can. I definitely don't know everything about electric cars, far from it, but hopefully my experiences in these videos on this channel can help. So for instance, talking about the Ioniq automatic demist system, ADS, there's a button, there's a video on my channel about how to set this or unset this, but basically the default setting is that it will be on, and as I say, I do find it uses an awful lot of energy to actually do that. So the best thing it can actually do is to put the automatic demist setting off. The way to do that is on the climate control panel next to your auto button, there's a button that says front. If you hold that button down, it will start the front demist on the high volume setting. But actually push that button down, and what it does is it'll then eventually flash up that ADS off, and that's what you want to come up. So you take your finger off a button, it'll then stop flashing, it'll say ADS off, and then just resume your normal climate control settings. And then your car is set. It does memorise this. You don't have to do this every time that you get in the Ioniq. And believe me, you will save a significant amount of energy by doing that, because of course the windscreen gets cold. The glass has a direct interface with the outside temperature. So of course it's going to want to heat up. I think the sensor does pick up moisture as well from the outside. Sorry, on the inside of the windscreen. So any misting, you know, it does sort of let it run then. But honestly, like I said in previous videos, keep yourself warm, keep the battery warm via the vents underneath the rear seat, and your windscreen will not become a problem. Even when you've got 4 passengers on board, it just will not be an issue at all. Just keep the temperature, the climate even in your car, and you'll be absolutely fine. No problems at all. Saying about isolated snow showers, we just went through a little bit of one then, and now it's completely gone again. So we're running the car in eco mode, which is my, again, default sort of setting. I like it because it gives me the limiter set at 70. When you set the modes, again, there's a video on the channel about setting the different modes. There isn't an option to set a limiter and for it to memorise the limiter on the different settings. That's a shame, really. I think that's something that they could improve in the next model. I quite like it if we did have a limiter that you could program in as you switch to each setting. You know, particularly sport mode, because it's so blooming easy to get yourself up to 80, 90 mile an hour, and you just feel like you're doing 70. Driving an electric car, you generally don't have the noise of, well, obviously you don't have the noise of the motor, and you do get a bit of road noise and tyre noise, but it's a case of, well, quiet. I imagine that's even worse in the cars with a better sound insulation. The Ioniq has been tested and it seems to have the not quite so good sound insulation, it has to be said. So this is the motorway portion of the journey over with, and I'm going to go on to the A road section, the A19 here, up to Selby. And what I'm going to do is just between motorway and urban driving, so let's just reset that. Handy place to break down. Handy place to park it, actually, because I saw that crane earlier, and actually it was blocking a lane on the motorway. I was going in the opposite direction, so they've towed it off and got as far as blocking another junction. That's pretty fabulous, isn't it? And for the people actually who live down that road, that's a real inconvenience, because actually they can't go out another way because the railway crossing down there is also shut. So they're isolated now because they've dumped a crane there. Superb. Okay, glad I don't live down that bit of the village. This part of the world is known as Eggborough. My home village. You can see a nice power station there on your right hand side. Very rarely actually is in operation now, because they're tending to reduce the fossil fuel demand. What is coal fired? There's another power station called Drax, which is not far. It's part of a chain of 3 power stations. We've got Ferrybridge that was coal fired. That now is a refuge biomass, and a bit of coal as well, supposedly. Almost definitely, because you still see the coal lorries going in and the coal trains going by. And this is Eggborough. This is a standby site basically for periods of high demand. And they're also talking about making it what they call a black start site, which is interesting. When the national grid collapses, when we've obviously quite archaic, it almost makes it sound like somebody's there with a big motor pulling a big cord on it, like an outboard motor on a boat. But supposedly this is what they'll need. They'll be able to fire up Eggborough, and in turn that will be able to power logic of that. But hey, you know what? Fossil fuel bad. Electric car good. We sort of thought, when we've got an old coal mine that my father-in-law actually worked at near here, called Kellingley, and that basically would, well, produce millions of tons of coal over the years. It's the last coal mine in Yorkshire that's actually closed down now. So it's created a bit of unemployment, obviously, and you know, I think we need as much solar as we can get, and wind generation, to help with the national grid. I think it's quite shameful on days like today. You look at how much power we're drawing down, and yeah, how much is being actually imported from France and Germany, and wherever else really. Little village here called Chapel Haddlesey. It's got a bridge which has just been repaired. Been closed for 4 months, and now they're repairing it again. So this created a huge diversion, and yep, looks like they didn't do it very well. So that's nice. That's something to look forward to on the way back as well. A very sort of agricultural area around here, as you can see. We've got sugar beet grown off to the left here. We've got used to be a big turf area as well. In fact, some of the turf grown in this area was used at the new Wembley Stadium as well. It's a local claim to fame, I guess. Looks like the weather's going to just turn on us now, a bit more snow. So, big carrot farming area as well. We've got a local farming company called Poskets, and they supply carrots mainly to Asda around the country. Also strawberries, and yeah. Oh, and here's a nice bit of snow for you folks. Apologies for the wipers having to be on. Doesn't help your viewing pleasure, I'm sure, but probably better than looking through a windscreen covered in mush and slush. So yeah, so we're driving now on the urban part, as I say. 3.9 miles per kilo, sorry, 4 miles per kilowatt hour. At this time, it's 1 degree outside. We've got 89% battery. A lot of people wonder about the handling of the Ioniq in weather like this. If you're steady, it's fine. Make the most of the regenerative braking, so you're not braking using the friction brake quite so much. Yeah, just like any winter driving, my tip for you is absolutely to, make sure you're not driving up somebody else's back end like the Audi is in front of me, and actually, make a gap, because your stopping distances are going to be at least 2 or 3 times longer than you would normally anticipate. Squeaky wiper syndrome. That's because the wipers are actually freezing just a little bit, so getting a bit harder on their friction. So apologies for that noise, but still need to see where we're going. Superb thing about the Ioniq, heated seats. I don't need my heated seat at the moment, but when it's really cold and you're getting in the car and the car hasn't been pre-conditioned, the heated seats definitely take the edge off the cold leather. And in the summer you can ventilate the seats as well, so you can take a little bit of the edge off the hot leather. I look forward to those days, moving forward again, because yeah, it's a bit wintry. So we're just about to go into 60 mile an hour zone, part of the bypass around Selby here in North Yorkshire, and we're at 4.3 miles per kilowatt hour. Regen on 3, outside temperature 1 degree, and my range is now 106 miles. We started off at 116, so yeah, Nicky working in retail. Real shame this sort of weather, there is no heat in our store, so it's not really good enough. They've actually given them new uniforms. That doesn't help, but actually the staff are having to make their own uniforms because they're actually having to add gloves, scarves, and oh, there we go. So that little bing bong is auto emergency braking disabled, and that's because the radar's blocked, so that's just snow on the nose cone. It builds up on top of the number plate frame, and as it builds up there, it just covers the Hyundai badge, which is where that radar is. Hopefully we won't need emergency braking, because we try and be observant, and we do things, we leave plenty of space, as you should do in winter driving. So nearly there. Thanks for watching. I know it's been a fairly laid back video, and any questions, just leave them in the comments, and until the next time.